Hey, this is Jason. It's like 20 some odd degrees outside, but it's at least 50 in here, so I thought I'd show you a quick little tutorial on how to hand sand a blade. Alright, I'm going to try a hand sanding long form this time, see what happens. So here's a blade, finished ground. Looks gross because I dipped it in ferric to see the pattern. But anyway, this is a blade finished ground. I want to set up some time lapse and let it roll. I want to talk a little bit about the paper I like. So this is Rhino Wet from Indasa. I get it from Pops, but a lot of suppliers carry it. Rhino Wet Indasa Redline. I use the 400 grit for my base layer, and then I switch to 600 after the 400 is clean. A lot of people start higher grit than that. I mean, they'll start at 220 or something. But to me, it's all about how clean is your knife off of the grinder, right? So my knife is clean enough off of the grinder that I can get it done with 400 in 10 or 15 minutes aside on a piece this size. Let's talk a little about sanding sticks. So I'm going to use several different sanding holders over the course of this video. So this one is about 1.25 inches wide, flat. This one is about 3/4 inch flat. Both these incidentally are files just flattened off. So a hard metal bar. I've got a little one that's got a bevel cut on it that I use for getting into the corners right there. And then I've got the EDM stones that I'll talk about some more. And then I've got the leather backed that I use for a final step. Alright, so here we are at video, first side, at a pretty clean 600 grit. So now I will do the second side the same way, and I won't make you watch it. Okay, so here we are partway through the blade. I wanted to point out a problem and a little bit about how to fix it. So, get the focus right. So you can see right here is a line of deeper scratches. So that came from using like a 220 wheel on my plunge cutting deal. So you can see some scratches in those corners. This is a weld flaw that's obvious right there. Anyway, see the scratches in the corners. Show you how. All right, so this is a place where I would use what we call an EDM stone. They're the ones I like are 1/8 by half. This one here is 220. I picked it out because you can see the labels. This one here is a piece of my 320. That's what I'm going to use for this scratch set. You can see I added a piece of tape to the end just for padding because of how I use the stone. I do want to point out something I'm doing here. So the little groove that I'm polishing out had scratches running this way up and down the blade. It's a little dip right there. So what I'm doing is using the width of my stone to cover both sides of that as I polish, so that I'm not just polishing out the bottom of that dip, I'm polishing the sides off so that it will make the whole thing smooth and flat like it should have been in the first place. Okay, so there's that run of scratches after polishing it with the stone. Again, it's just at a dirty 400. I want you to notice that the 400 is going at about this angle all the way down the blade. What I'm going to do when I switch to 600 is then I'll go straight. That's the cross hatching that you hear people talk about. So when you switch grits, you go from this way to maybe this way to maybe back this way, so that you can see the underlying grit changes. Make sure you get them all out when you're going to the next level. Another thing I'd like to show real quick is how you put the finishing strokes on. So I don't know if you noticed in the other video, I scrub when I'm sanding out scratches. Okay, but now I've got all the 400s this way are gone, and I've got nothing but 600s this way, but I've been scrubbing a little bit. So what I do to add those final scratches is I use a leather-backed sanding bar. It's just a piece of plastic, but it's got a piece of leather on it, and clean paper, and just go hard pressure and straight strokes. So hard pressure, straight strokes with clean paper is how you get that final clean looking finish that looks like that. All right, so here's where I'll stop on a hand-sanded blade. This one is 600 grit. You can see the lengthwise scratches. Hopefully you don't see any other scratches in there other than that flaw. So there you go. That's what we're trying to end up with.